music for other artists. Is that correct?
Well, we do a lot of projects, and our projects have appeared in movies, television, and we're always pitching the Nashville market. So that's one of our things. In addition to doing our own singles and our own work, we always have our pulse on the Nashville market.
I got you, and John Bon Jovial's got you too. I see he's got something he wants to toss in here. Go for it, John.
Well, hey, Michael, first of all, welcome to the show. We are really, really glad you're here today. My question for you, you keep mentioning us, our, that kind of thing. So I am curious of the makeup of the band, or should I call it the makeup of the project? How did you find the people that are involved in this? What do they play? How is this made up to work the way it is?
Well, I always say us and our, and how we're structured is to think of it like, I don't know if you know a producer by the name of Quincy Jones. Whenever he does a project, it's always him out front, and then he brings people in to do his work. And we're kind of structured the same way, whereas See Your Shadow has me at the top of the pyramid as the artistic director, and I write and produce all the songs that we do. And then either artists find me or I find them, and they could come to me from literally anywhere. And what I do is I find people that have the passion for creating, and I bring them into the fold, depending on what kind of project that we're doing.
Well, as I'm listening to the conversation that you and David were having just prior to my question, this is what formulated the question that I just asked you. And I also, while I was listening to it, which, by the way, it's a beautifully produced song. It's got a great rhythm to it, and you've done a very, very, very nice job. But it also helped me think of something that on the surface is kind of the opposite of the theme of Showdown, but really at the end is revealed to be the same thing, and that's Kenny Rogers. Everybody considered him to be the coward of the county. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, as it turns out, the theme is the same. The approach is different. And I'm just wondering, when you put Showdown together, were you influenced by Kenny Rogers? Were you or other outside people to come up with this concept?
Well, what's the story behind this particular piece is actually it was written in collaboration with one of my writing partners, Richard Murray. And how the piece came about was, and he's from Indiana, and I was from Ohio at the time, and he had heard about this competition down in Nashville, and he wanted us to take part in it. And so we both traveled down there. We had never met before. We had never been in the same room before, and the nature of this particular project was that they assembled songwriters from all across the country. And we had 24 hours to write a piece and present it to a celebrity panel of judges. And the piece was going to be used for somebody to try to revive their career. It was someone who had some hits in the 90s, and then they were trying to revive their career. But and we weren't told what we were going to write about until we were in the room. And they told us who it was at that time, and then they told us that the piece had to have a poker element to it. And so just given those parameters, Richard and I, two people who we couldn't be more opposite. We had never met before until that time. Sat in a hotel room, and we came up with this piece, called Showdown. Trying to incorporate the poker elements, but not make it too literal.
Does that answer your question, John?
Yes, it does indeed.
Okay.
And no, thank you. And I know that, and it may have seemed like a fluff question at first, but there really was a reason for me asking, because I am the one on this show that always tries to dissect the mindset, if you will. In addition to discussing production techniques and things of a more technical nature, I always want to try to get into somebody's head to find out just, what were you thinking when you put this together? And you answered it very nicely. Thank you.
It's our fifth number one in South Africa on the country charts. We just hit number one there on the iTunes country chart last week with that.
That's a very, very growing market that we haven't tapped here yet. I don't think we've had anyone in from South Africa, but that is a very, very rapidly growing music market, and I am definitely going to be looking to get some artists on the show from there. Tell us what's going on down there. But speaking of what's going on, you give us a little bit of the background of the Your Shadow Songwriting group and the Tune Showdown, which is your new single. Tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you come from musically?
Well, I started. I've been in the arts all my life. It's just been one of my passions. My two biggest passions are show business and the arts. And how I got started was actually when I was a kid. I started playing in the band and orchestra when I was a kid, and that actually helped me to ignite and keep that passion going. But we always had music when I was growing up, and my mom was the type of person that liked everything, and so I had a lot of exposure to different genres as I was growing up, and it's just always been something that has been one of my passions. And not only this, but I do photography. I'm a filmmaker. I do all other things. I write. It's just the arts. It's just always been something that I have been passionate about. But it wasn't until I had a milestone birthday. I was managing a law firm in San Francisco, and I had a milestone birthday, and I won't tell you which one it was, but something said to me, you know what, you've just got too much talent that you're not doing anything with. You need to do something with it. And so then that's when I said, well, I've always had the passion for music, and I'm a darn good poet. I've been nominated twice to be the poet laureate for the state of Ohio. And so
Congratulations.
So I said, it just seems a natural segue that music would be, the songwriting would be the venue that I would try to go for, and then it just took off from there.
Now, tell me about this Metropolitan Cowboy.
So that is my brand, and my moniker. I actually got the name when we were doing a avant-garde sketch comedy show, and we were kind of trying to come up with the name of the show. I always had the Western look. So that was always my brand. But then when we were trying to give the show a name, we were going to go with concrete because of how tall I am and strong, and but that was already taken. And so then somebody on the creative team said, well, you dress pretty good, so why don't we go with Metropolitan Metro? And then I liked it, and this has been my brand ever since.
Very good, very good. I like it. Now, you have an interesting track record of what you have accomplished, what you've tried to accomplish, and I'm just wondering where you got the idea. And I'm kind of stealing John's thunder here because one of John's favorite questions of our guests is, what is your muse? And I guess I'm sort of scratching in that area. But you've shown, according to the notes I have and the people I've talked to, you were one of the first to combine hip-hop and country. And you've also gone with a techno dance version of Take Me Out to the Ball Game and a little more controversial, over-the-top LGBT themed dance track. Where do you get the ideas, the creative juice that puts you into this area where you all of a sudden decide, we should do a country hip hop number or a techno version of an old baseball classic? Where do you get this idea from?
Yeah, all those things literally just come out of nowhere. So take like a Kid Again for example. We were in the studio, and that's the country western hip hop record. We were in the studio doing another record, and the band was practicing, and they were and what they were doing, they were just freestyling, and I told the engineer, I said, start rolling. I said, there's something happening here. I said, start rolling, and so he started rolling. And we got the backing track for that. It was just phenomenal piece, just not phenomenal piece of music. And then I said to myself, you know what, we're going to do something different with this. I want a rapper to rap on this on this impromptu track. And so we found someone out of Flint, Michigan, who came in and did the track, and it was just I try to do things that have. I like innovation, and I try to do things that haven't been done before, and I try to do things that people think that I'm crazy. When I say, you know what, this is how I'm feeling this, and
this is how I roll. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we actually debuted that at the H.H. Gregg, Indiana Country Music Festival. They don't have that anymore. But at that time, that piece actually made its debut in Indiana.
Awesome. I love it. We had a guest on here a couple of weeks ago, Randy Edelman, who is, after a long career in writing music and blah, 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 he is now one of the premier writers and arrangers for the movies and has done some blockbuster movies. And John and I were exchanging the thoughts after hearing what goes on in his backyard as far as music creativity is concerned, how we'd like to be eavesdroppers perched on the fence in his backyard to hear what goes on there. After listening to this, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the studio watching and listening as you come up with these ideas for creative music. And if I may just plant one little seed. There's a lot of reference in your material, in your bios and promotional materials about country western music, and it just sort of slaps me side of the head because the western has been kind of forgotten and gone by the wayside. Now, there are some great western artists out there, but it hasn't been that big a deal. And I would offer the suggestion that one of these times when you're feeling really creative, maybe you could come up with something that would bring back a little bit of the western side of country western music. Just a thought there. I'm not telling you how to direct your career, but it's something that a lot of us wouldn't mind hearing. Before we let you go,
let you in on a little secret. To bring it back because that's a good thing. One of my goals is I want to write a country and western opera. That's one.
Awesome. That would be something. I would definitely be up for that myself. I love the idea, and I wish you all the very best. Before we run out of time, I want to give you a chance to tell the people how they can find you, and more importantly, how they can find and buy your music. But tell the folks how to find you online.
Sure. Our flagship website is seeyorshadow.com. SEEYOURSHADOW.com. You can find us on Facebook. That's our preferred social media platform, and I encourage folks to look me up personally as well. Michael Coleman, you'll see me with the cowboy hat, and send me a friend request. Say you heard listen to me on the show, and on all the digital platforms. So you can find all the music: Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and the like. And look up the Metropolitan Cowboy YouTube channel, and you can see all of our videos, some inspirational messages there as well.
Oh, great. Thank you very much there. And for your information, you're now part of our family, having been on our show, and we like to keep up with our family. I have on Facebook a The David Bowers Awards music groups page, and you are welcome to post your music news, your releases, whatever you got going in your music life that you want to share with the fans and friends. Post it up there, and we can pick it up from there and spread it around to our other social media sites. And I warn you, don't put any secrets on there because we do tell, okay?
Fantastic. And then that's what we're both welcome. We'll have to get together sometime as well.
Absolutely. I look forward to that. We must talk about it. Thank you very much for joining us today, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Coleman with the See Your Shadow Songwriting Group. And here's one he did, I don't know, it was a year or two ago. It's going to be the first Christmas song we play of 2021. Here is Michael